second time we get to Hengsha, we actually start immediately under attack from a lot of enemies. And so the first thing I'm going to have to do is dependent on how fast I do it. So I'm going to actually explain a little bit beforehand and then show it off. What we want to do is just to run over to the opposite side of the construction yard and ride an elevator up and then leave. But if we do that normally, we're going to hit a cutscene trigger where we watch Malik die. But after that, we have an info link with Pritchard that lasts for quite a long time, and during that entire info link, we can't leave the area. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to skip that cutscene trigger. To do that, we're going to have to crouch in the elevator, press the elevator button, and just after we press the elevator button, jump towards where the doors are closing. We're going to land on top of a small bar in the middle of the door, and then walk, edge our way up on top of the elevator button, and I should have enough time now to explain it as I do it.
Malik, on a de la compagnie.
So run over here, I'm going to cloak as well,
Je vais te couvrir.
and just try and run to the end as quickly as you can. Now I'm going to crouch, press the elevator button, and as the doors are closing, I jump out and land on top of that little bar there, and then edge myself away up on top of this button and stand up. The reason we do that is that the info link I'm having now with Pritchard is location based, so if I'm standing on top of this button, I hit it actually a few seconds earlier than if I was just standing here normally. So what we've actually done is we've tricked the game into thinking that Malik survives. So we have this conversation with Pritchard about how she got away, and now we have a conversation with Malik about how she's dying. So it ends up saving a decent chunk of time because these conversations take place during the elevator, and we only have to wait for a very small amount of time at the end.
Farida.
If we hit the cutscene trigger, we'd be waiting there for an extra 10 seconds at least, maybe a little bit more. Now Hengsha 2 actually is known as basically the running simulator mission in this game. Most of this is just going to be a case of running from point A to point B and just watching where I'm going, taking the same lines as I'm taking, unless I obviously fuck it up, but yeah, there's nothing too complicated in this area. Once you go around this corner, you actually want to cloak. That guy in the orange vest will have a conversation with you, so if you just cloak past him, we can completely ignore him. Just be careful not to bump your head on any of the lights there, as you'll lose your sprint speed entirely.
Monsieur Jensen, ici Yugdaro. Veuillez excuser cette intrusion, mais David...
Now we have to climb down a ladder, but we have Icarus landing system. So what you want to do is you want to climb down 6 rungs and then drop off. If you drop off too early, you'll Icarus fall the whole way down and you'll have the animation. And obviously we want to climb as little as possible. So once I'm on this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I drop off. And that's the fastest way we can skip the Icarus animation, but not have to climb much. And then just run through here and cloak past these guys. It doesn't matter if they see you right at the end, they usually do in fact. But it doesn't matter, just head through. Use one of your energy jars. They should be on 5, or at least for me they're on 5, and if you've done everything I've done they'll be on 5 for you as well. And just cloak through this area as well. That area is one of the hardest in the game to run through without bumping your head on anything. Generally you're not going to do it. But just do that and then grab this laser rifle. That's very, very important. Do not forget that laser rifle. And this is the reason we wanted to save some of our hypo stims. I'm going to show 2 routes here, one if you don't have any stims left, and one if you have 2 to 3. Well, you can do it with 1, but I would definitely not recommend doing it with 1 on medium difficulty, because you take quite a lot of damage from doing this. So I would only do this if you have at least 2 or 3. 3 is fine as well, obviously. So I'm going to show the route without it first. So pretend I have no stims here, and you just run over here, jump on top of this car, and then jump and crouch and just go over top of that fence. You can cloak past those guys if you want. Sometimes they see you, sometimes they don't, and then just go to here. Alternatively, if you have the hypo stims, you can jump over the electrified house that's, or this electrified building I guess, that's just to the left of us as we come out of the manhole. The safest way of doing this is actually to stim only once now and then stim once again while you're jumping over, but you can't stim while you're sprinting, so if you're not comfortable doing that, you can actually survive with 200 health doing this, so you can just double stim here and then try and do this. But basically we want to jump over this and just survive that, and you can only really do that if you have 2 stims. And then just come here, and from this point onwards, as soon as I pick up this bomb, the rest of the level is actually timed anyway. We need to wait for this info link with Tong to finish, so if your movement isn't perfect here, don't worry about it, it's not very important. Just go up to this door, the code is 4589, and then go through here. They actually shot me while I was going through, so now these guards are hostile, whereas normally they won't be, but it doesn't really matter. Just come over to this code, this one is 3295. And now we're at the end. Just interact with this bomb. As soon as you've done that, you have to wait for Tong to finish talking anyway. Activate the bomb, and that's Hengsha 2.